Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1333. 333. It's Mike Matthews. This will be the 3 show. We'll say the word 3 at least 3 times. No, maybe. It's Mike. It's Café Anyway.
1, 2.
Wait for it. Here it comes.
3.
Mike's
Wow.
Daily Podcast.
Oh, that was so wonderful. All right. Here we are in Podcastro Valentino.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
At the last place on earth, this podcast brings you a lot of culture, unlike that girl Ann Coulter who was going to speak at Berkeley UC. And not so much because they offered her another venue.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I do not get this. I do not get all the hubbub about it. Okay, I have a lot of liberal friends
Mike's
who say
Daily
UC Berkeley,
Podcast.
they're crushing.
Yeah.
They're crushing free speech there. They should allow free speech, but they don't. What hypocrites? No. Here it is. Okay, imagine you are the chancellor of UC Berkeley. Nice ponytail. And you are told, like, the door opens and a guy walks in and says the following. Here, we're going to do a little bit of theater here. Go ahead. Hello, my it's Madame Rootabega, and I represent the Republicans on the UC Davis. I am reading this piece of paper. I am not the Republican. Go on, just read it. It says, I am asking you to, I'm not asking, I'm telling you. It says it's underlined. Someone else walked in. Hello there, Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant. And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that? Mike, we heard yesterday that there's a guy whose last name really is... Last names are scary. There's a guy whose last name is Bentley. No way, I just made up that name as a lark back like in the early 90s, and you're telling me there really is a guy with the last name Bentley? Well, I guess there is the Bentley automobile. Mike, my last name is Bentley. I'm Bison Bentley. Do you know that? I'm right here. Why are you just ignoring me? Do you know that?
And here's today's podcast picture.
Do you know that? 3 times. The podcast picture today is of dumb Barton. You dumb Barton. You're so dumb. You dumb Barton. I'm looking at you, you bridge. You're dumb. You're dumb. Pointing at you. No, I love the Dumbarton Bridge. Seriously, I do. It's a beautiful bridge. It's not too long. It's not like that long San Mateo Bridge. And it's not like that clogged up, always has traffic on it, Bay Bridge. I kind of like the new bridge. The Oakland Bridge is nice. But the Bay Bridge, always backed up and it's old. It's going to fall down someday. It could fall down tomorrow. I'm afraid. And then there's a Golden Gate. But once again, I'll never drive over that. I'll walk over it, but I won't drive because it's weird. And you don't really enjoy it. It's a beautiful landmark, the Golden Gate Bridge. And you don't really get to enjoy it if you just drive over it. And of course, there are all those people in Mill Valley who are what I call lucky, and they live there, or Tiburon, or Sausalito, and they got to commute to the city. So they drive over the Golden Gate Bridge. No, they don't. They take the ferry to the city because they're cool. And they're like that. And they've been like that for ages. And that's why I moved here, because I saw the lifestyle and I was like, oh, wow, I want to be part of that. But do I ever ride on ferry boats? No. It's been a long time. And I should post a podcast picture about that. But rather, today is the picture of the Dumbarton Bridge. Hey, I talked to my first longtime Bay Area resident, San Francisco, summer of love, hippie chick, now in her 70s. I run into her a couple of times. She gave me nasturtium seeds. Because I want to plant nasturtiums. I want to plant nasturtium plants. Because they're so colorful and yellow and stuff. And oranges. I'm going to plant that. And she gave me those seeds. That was like last week. And I didn't mention that on the podcast. And I apologize. But I ran into her again last evening as I'm walking my wonderful dog known as, say it with me, Basil the Boxer. And she talks to me and she mentioned, what was this song? Oh, she's like, it's just like, I have this old car. I have this old Honda. I have an old Honda. It's an old Honda CRX. And I'm like that old lady from Pasadena. Remember that song? Did you ever hear that song? Do you know that song? And I said, yeah, that's by the Beach Boys. No, wrong. Oh, sorry. Jan and Dean. That's it. Ding, ding, ding. She actually said ding, ding, ding. No, she didn't say ding, ding, ding. But it makes the story more interesting. Especially if I play the sound effect right after that. But she said, I knew Leon Russell. And I said, what? Up on a tightrope? Leon Russell? You knew Leon Russell? Wait, do I have the right Leon Russell song? I'll have to double check that later. Not to be confused with Leon Redbone, who kind of sings like a lamb. And she goes, yeah, Leon Russell, he was very amazed by all the concerts I went to. Hold on, I'll be right back. She leaves, goes into her house, comes out with this piece of paper. Not the one I'm holding right now. This is the script that Madame Rootabega was reading and we interrupted her. I know Michael Russell so rude. I was pretending to be a Republican. I know, that was so cool. But she's got this list of all the concerts she's ever seen, and it's written in pencil. Written in freehand, which is so funny. Because nowadays people put it on a spreadsheet or they put it on Facebook or they go, this is which is, I just now realized, very apropos because everybody last week was talking about all the concerts they'd gone to see and bragging about all the concerts. But one of them's fake. Guess what it is? One of these things is not like the other. And what is it? No, but she wrote these freehand. I'm guessing you didn't see Tom Petty, is the guess I have. What? Wrong? You did see Tom Petty? Well, what a waste of money. No, just kidding. He's awesome. I love Full Moon Fever and his earlier stuff. But that's neither here nor there nor over there. Or his, hey, how about Mud Crunch? Huh? That was the first band he was with, and then he revived them a little while ago, did a couple albums with them. But she's showing me all this, and I go, I gotta go. It's after 8. I gotta get to bed. But the sun's still up. And when I came to work this morning at 5, the sun was already up. It's long days now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm assuming there are both ladies and gentlemen listening to this show. Maybe that's assuming a lot, but... Well, I wanted to talk about Berkeley and about how the chancellor, or what do they call him? The dean, chancellor, yeah, he's called a chancellor. He said, look, all of a sudden, Ann Coulter, I'm told without any notice, Ann Coulter is going to be speaking on the campus in a couple of days. Well, you can't do that because this is UC frickin' Berkeley, and there is a riot at the drop of a hat. Everybody frickin' riots here. Conservatives, Republicans, Democrats, all riot. So, I predict a riot, and the Kaiser Chiefs come out and sing that wonderful song that everybody tried to perform on Guitar Hero rock band. He said, the chancellor said, look, I had no time. I basically said to them, look, you can't do this. You can't have her talk here, but you can have her at this other venue that we can protect. We've got the Berkeley police to protect you because we don't want the whole Milo thing again. So this is take it or leave it. And the campus Republicans, which is a oxymoron at UC Berkeley. Oh, that's a whole thing too. UC Berkeley is so liberal. Then why do they have campus Republicans? Why do they have Republicans at UC Berkeley? A group actually that meets that's allowed to meet at UC Berkeley. If I would understand the yelling at UC Berkeley and Bill Maher's yelling at UC Berkeley and all that, if they do have free speech there, shut up. Shut up. Quit speaking is what I'm telling you. No more free speech for you or soup. And the fact, so they said to Ann Coulter's people, you can speak here. They said to the Republicans, you can speak, the campus Republicans, she can speak on this state at this area that we can protect. Because when Milo showed up in Indianapolis, there was a big riot and it cost over $150,000. Yeah, that's how much you spend in a month to go here. We have a very high tuition here. But hey, this is the situation and we need to protect the property and basically Ann Coulter's life too. We want to protect her, right? Even though she is a skeleton with a blonde wig on, and that's how it's gonna be. Well, then they scream, "Oh, it's free speech!" Shh. No. There was free speech offered. You don't live in frickin' Stalinist, Leningradist, gratis? It's free? Russia. No. You don't live in a total dictatorship. But hey, if you are a dictator, please come see Trump. Philippines dictator, come by. Stop by. Trump would love to talk to you. That happened. We'll get to that in the segment we call Now That's Legit. We'll get to that in a moment. And by the way, this Dumbarton Bridge picture, as I flew over Dumbarton Bridge about 2 years ago, coming back from Florida, it was a beautiful day, and I looked down, oh, Dumbarton Bridge, I love that bridge. And somewhere in that picture, you can see Facebook. I know, and I'm going to post this on Facebook in a little bit, so how ironic or odd or double, just magical, maybe is what it is. So I enjoyed talking to my talkative San Francisco Summer of Love hippie chick neighbor, and she, in fact, has a daughter who's about my age. I wonder what she looks like. But she came out, oh, wait, I got to show you something else, and she leaves. I'll be right back. And she comes right back, and she's got this huge poster of herself taken by a photographer, perhaps you know, named Bob Chamberlain, who actually wrote on the back of it. And it's a picture of her from like 1968. And she, my friend, looked so San Francisco, young hippie chick. We kind of had a Harold and Maude moment, although I did not have relations with her as in Harold and Maude. That's what happens in that movie with the old hippie chick woman that beds the young boy. Ugh. In fact, that's what one of the characters does after he finds out about their relationship. He's like, ugh. Harold and Maude is a very odd movie. And it still holds up. It's a beautiful window into San Francisco, into the, I think that was the 60s. And it's got a wonderful Cat Stevens soundtrack. If you want to sing out, sing out. But that is what happened yesterday, and a little bit of UC Berkeley. By the way, even though Ann Coulter did not speak on April 27th, even though they offered her that date and they offered her a venue, and she didn't even call up to say, no, that's all right. Thanks for all the effort and help that you guys are putting into this, but we're not going to do it just, for safety concerns or whatever. She instead went on Fox and went, Berkeley, poop. And then she tweeted something to the same effect. And basically that's how the chancellor, the dean at Berkeley, found out about it. Yet they still had 300 Berkeley police show up to protect the students on April 27th. Even though Ann Coulter, who did not call to even RSVP. And so that is what happened to protect the students. And yes, I know, they spent a huge whopping Whopper, delicious burger, very fattening. Hey, I'm almost to my goal weight. It's taken me several years to get, I'm over 220 pounds. And it is just freaking impossible to get below that. But I'm getting closer. And I weighed myself today, and I was like, whoa. And one word, flaxseed. That's what's helping. And walking the dog, walking the wonderful Basil the boxer. Thank you, Basil, for helping me get to my goal weight. So my BMI is basically unattainable. There's no way I'm going to get to that with my height and I'm not super tall. I'm 6 foot, but it was, although the company Quest Diagnostics and my workplace, they had me go to Quest Diagnostics for the health plan, and they freaking said I was 5'9". And there's no way, and I've talked about this in the past podcast, so I won't rehash this, but I even talked to my general manager, and he goes, no, you're not 5'9". There's no way. You're taller than that. So I thought I was going to have to go back to Quest Diagnostics because I complained. They go, oh, we're sorry about the mix-up. Yeah, we'll take care of it. I thought I was going to have to go back and get remeasured. No, all they did was just change it. You said you're 6 foot? Okay. I should have said I was 8 feet. Well, then I would have been, arrested by the UC Berkeley and put away because I was a freak. No, that's not what that's what the Philippines dictator would have done to me. But more stories about Philippines dictators and whatnot coming up in a moment with Now That's Legit. Go to the website MikeSdalyPodcast.com and check out the wonderful past podcast pictures. I think that's all I have. I don't have any other bridge pictures. But there's the Dumbarton Bridge, and there's an Amazon link. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, click on that and buy whatever it is you're going to buy. It helps us out. There's also a PayPal there if you'd like to help donate to the show. You'll get a special greeting from all the Café Anyway characters and all the past interviews I've done, and more about the show at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. And now the segment called
Now That's Legit.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
Hey, here's a quick question. If you're a talk show host on the radio, why do you clear your throat? Why do you clear your throat live on mic? Really? Not cool. Not cool at all. And more talk show hosts and guests on talk shows are doing that, and it's just wrong. Just like what Trump would say.
Wrong.
So speaking of him, he continued his outreach to rogue leaders and dictators, declaring he would meet North Korea's dictator Kim Jong-un, provided the circumstances were right, even as the Philippine president, Rodrigo Duterte brushed aside the president's invitation to visit the White House, saying he might be too busy. Mr. Trump's unorthodox overtures to a nuclear-armed despot who brutally purged his rivals and an insurgent politician accused of extrajudicial killings of drug suspects illustrated the president's confidence in his ability to make deals and his willingness to talk to virtually anybody. Even the Russians. What's so wrong talking to the Russians?
I say it's better to get along with Russia than not.
Well, now, Duterte's backhanded response to Mr. Trump, however, also showed the pitfalls of his personal brand of diplomacy. The president had already gotten fierce criticism from human rights for embracing a man viewed by many as being responsible for the deaths of thousands of people involved in the drug trade, many innocent people that were not involved with drugs but somehow got on a list, and then they get killed. And they're killed by the Duterte's police and by these weird outside of the police, these dark shadow organizations that Duterte pays, and they just basically, it's bedlam over there in Philippines, according to the media. And, it's sort of weird because with Obama, we had a NPR kind of administration. And now with Trump, we got this weird Breitbart meets some horrible video game type administration. Wants to meet Duterte. But this, according to the New York Times, posted 10 hours ago, so some things have changed since then. But the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday ruled that cities may sue banks over predatory mortgage lending to minorities that harms municipal finances, but cast doubt on whether such cases can succeed by throwing out a lower court decision that had allowed litigation brought by Miami to move forward. Maybe it's not a Breitbart meets video game. It's definitely not NPR anymore. But they didn't defund NPR with this new that stopped the shutdown. This new bill, which is interesting. An Aero flight from Russia to Thailand hit an air pocket yesterday, causing severe turbulence and leaving at least 27 people on board injured. This is called clear air turbulence. The Aero flight was traveling from Moscow to Bangkok when the Boeing 777 encountered severe turbulence about 40 minutes before landing. There were clear skies outside the plane. Crew members did not warn passengers because of that. The Russian embassy in Thailand told the media that 24 of the 27 people were Russian nationals that were injured, and the other 3 were from Thailand. Reports say 15 of the injured passengers needed to be transported to a Bangkok hospital for further treatment. Yesterday was May Day, and there was violence in Portland, where police canceled protest permits, arrested numerous people, and used gas and non-lethal weapons against demonstrators whom they described as anarchists. Other May Day gatherings around the world were relatively peaceful, but police geared up for confrontations in the Pacific Northwest, Pacific cities, Portland, and Seattle, where previous protests created havoc. For Twitter wants to be your live streaming destination point. The social network is attempting to attract more music lovers, sports fans, and news junkies, adding a dozen new partnerships to its already growing streaming portfolio. It announced new deals at its first ever New Fronts, and that's one word, New Fronts presentation that happened yesterday in New York. Ironically, Twitter didn't stream the news live, perhaps more for business reasons than technical, this according to CNET. Among the most notable partnerships is one with the concert promoter Live Nation to air a series of concerts starting with the Grammy-winning Zac Brown Band, May 13th. That's for all you country crossroads fans that listen to this podcast, which I think there's none of you. For sports lovers, Twitter is showing 20 WNBA regular season games for the next 3 seasons, starting on May 14th. And there's hashtag verified, an upcoming live interaction program featuring baseball great Derek Jeter's venture, the Players Tribune, in which popular athletes answered the most burning questions from Twitter. You can tell me what you think about that. Call me at 336MM Daily. That's 336MM Daily. And then finally, in 2013, Time Magazine ran a cover story titled Google versus Death about Calico, a then new Google-run health venture focused on understanding aging and how to beat it. We should shoot for the things that are really, really important, so 10 to 20 years from now, we have those things done, said Larry Page. But how exactly would Calico help humans live longer, healthier lives? How would it invest its vast $1.5 billion pool of money to better understand the biology of aging and treat aging as a disease? Page was vague about that, how that would be done. So, what is Calico doing now? This guy from Vox. Actually, a guy named Julia. No, that'd be a woman, wouldn't it? Julia Bellows was poking around. And she said this. She said, I asked everyone I could about Calico and quickly learned that it's an impenetrable fortress. Among the little more than a dozen press releases Calico's put out, there were only broad descriptions of collaborations with outside labs and pharmaceutical companies, most of them focused on that overwhelming vague mission of researching aging and associated disease. Well, people who work at Calico, Calico's outside collaborators, and even folks who were no longer with the company stonewalled her. As we go outside a Café Anyway, we're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcastro Valley. The Calico Secret. The Calico Cat. Meow. I enjoyed doing this show with you today. I think we learned a lot about people, about things, about the number 3, about bellies. No, wait, that was the last show. If you want to hear more about bellies, go back to the last show. And about hippies. Thank you, hippies of the world. Unite and take over. Next show, it's going to be Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the Engineer.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!